7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall. The Morning Watch today is brought to you by AIM Financial Corporation Limited. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Visit any of our branches in Mandeville, Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, Maypen, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay.
In need of a loan? AIM Financial is the place to go. We have loans from $20,000 to $3.3 million. Get a loan to pay school or college tuition, medical expenses, bills, fix up your house, buy furniture and appliances, repair or buy a car. And when you're done, take a vacation loan. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Call AIM today. You won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the main watch today. The Trend Program, TREND, the Trend Program. And in the second watch, what's in your hair? What's in your hair? For our social media question, we ask, women, how concerned are you today about using straightening chemicals in your hair? Share your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, here's our quote.
Today's I quote, it says, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. And this quote is from Joyce Meyer.
Joyce Meyer.
Joyce Meyer, right, thanks.
I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. I will leave it right there, my brother. Right. Good morning, Jukal Dyer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well indeed. Looking forward to a great show. The topics look pretty interesting. The main watch will be back after this break.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5 November 7, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain testing mental size listener's pick edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear the testimony of Reverend Adet Mitchell, who spent 5 weeks in the hospital after she suffered several heart attacks. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor of the Conquering Lion of the Tribe of Judah Healing and Deliverance International Ministry, Pastor Rowan Sims. All the time will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. November 7th with yours truly, Sarah and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Happy follow Grace Sardine, that's a flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that's a the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the part, make push it.
Grace Sardines follow the better flavor. Tired of the high interest rates and the whole heap of loan payments every month? Take a debt consolidation loan from AIM to pay credit card bills and all other high interest rate loans from other institutions. Make one low monthly payment to AIM and take home some extra money in your pocket. That's financial freedom. One loan, one low payment, more money in your pocket. Call AIM today to lower your loan payment. And remember, you won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Christmas is togetherness. Flow is giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. Flow has just what you've been wishing. Oh, it's a celebration. Free phone and earbuds for you. Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT. Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by you. Visit Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch and trend, T-R-E-N-D, trend, transforming education for national development is the new long-term plan to transform the education system in Jamaica and key goals to be achieved by 2030. You should have heard about this by now, but just in case, just how much do you know about it and how achievable are the goals? Are these goals what we should have? We have as our guest today to help us look at this trend, T-R-E-N-D, Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale, Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth. Good morning, Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale. How are you both? Well, rather, forgive me. How are you? So accustomed to having two guests in a segment, but how are you, Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale? Dr. Thomas-Gale, are we hearing you? Dr. Thomas-Gale. Are we hearing her for those who may be in studio? Are we hearing Dr. Thomas-Gale? Just checking. I am not hearing her, and it appears as if she's not hearing me. It does appear, listeners, that we are having a challenge with our audio. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, November 7, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing mental size, Listener's Pick Edition. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear the testimony of Reverend Adet Mitchell, who spent 5 weeks in the hospital after she suffered several heart attacks. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor of the Conquering Lion of the Tribe of Judah Healing and Deliverance International Ministry, Pastor Rowan Sims. All the time will come alive, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. November 7th with yours truly, Sarah and the Jerpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We do apologize for that break a moment ago. Having some challenges with our audio. Our guest for this first watch, the topic is trend. And just to repeat for those who may be just joining, the trend program, TREND. Our guest is Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale, Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education and Youth. Dr. Thomas Gale. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Stokeley. I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, listener. How are you doing?
I am well indeed. Thank you for asking. And
God,
first of all,
good.
what is trend? What are the goals of trend and why 2030? Let us know what is trend, first of all. What are the goals of trend and why the year 2030? Go ahead.
TREND is the acronym for Transforming Education for National Development. This is the campaign slogan that the Ministry of Education and Youth will be using while we transform the Ministry of Education into that ministry that is one that is comparable with other ministries around the world for 2030. Our vision coming out of the Pattison report, we had a transformation target and we have 365 objectives, 365 recommendations that we're currently working with to transform the ministry. These 365 recommendations, they all fall under 7 pillars, be it governance, early childhood education, teaching curriculum and teacher training, the tertiary sector, technical and vocational education and training, infrastructure and technology, and finance. So the ultimate aim for Trend is to create an inclusive and accessible world-class education system that will enable all Jamaicans to fulfill their fullest potential and contribute to Jamaica's development.
When you say inclusive, inclusive these days can be a political word. Why do you say inclusive?
Inclusive mean that when we transform, we're looking for every Jamaica. Every Jamaican will be able to access education, be it if you're from the special education sector, if you're a
Dr. Thomas Gale, I'm gonna ask to pause one moment. Right now, the Jamaican education system more or less includes everybody, you know.
it
What might
does,
be the
it does.
challenge is the quality or the type of education. So can you expand on that?
Right. So what we're looking at when we speak to inclusive now, where you are indeed correct, we do include everyone, but there are still some gaps coming out of the Patterson's report.
What
Where,
are those gaps or some of the gaps?
well, some of the gaps, as I mentioned earlier, they're aligned to the 7 pillars. So we saw where there need to be more streamlining of our boards, our school boards, the early childhood sector. We need to improve on our early childhood sector, make it more governor owned by the country, because currently we only have 2,500 early childhood sector that we have teacher trained candidate teachers in those institutions. So
That
the
doesn't make it a bad thing necessarily, you know, Dr. Thomas Gale, because I know persons who went through that system and they're doing very well and they're quite bright. So expand on that,
exactly.
please.
Right. So some persons who would have gone to what we call the basic schools, but we are
The
making
basic school, owned
right.
and controlled by Miss So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, and they're doing very well
And
now.
we
So
are
what is the
products
challenge
of
you
those
are
basic
seeing?
schools. We are
What's the
products
challenge
of
you
those
are
basic
seeing?
schools. So what we want though, Stokely, is not just there are still some gaps as it relates to there. So we are able to speak to the successes, but there are still quite a number of our students who are going to Miss So-and-so basic schools that we need to ensure that they are registered, they're compliant, because not only are we now teaching children the regular alphabet and so forth, but we want to ensure that those schools are so equipped that they are doing the foundational development, preparing the students for the foundational
Dr.
skills.
Thomas Gale, we're up on a break already, never enough time in the morning watch. Hold that thought, please. Very interesting. Listeners, we'll be right back on the morning watch.
Looking Looking to own a home and put down your roots? Join us at the Sagicor Bank Mortgage Boutique this Saturday, November 11th, Mandeville Branch, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Apply for your mortgage on location and get a competitive mortgage rate. 0.25% off commitment fee, on-site pre-qualification, $20,000 gift voucher for appliances, a Sagicor Bank Star Savers account with $5,000 for your child. Plus, on mortgage approval, you could be one of 3 winners of a patio set, living room set, or inverter AC with free installation. The Sagicor Bank Mortgage Boutique this Saturday, Mandeville Branch, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Did you know that the flu can lead to hospitalization and even death? Pregnant women, persons 60 years and older, babies and children, and persons with a chronic illness such as diabetes, asthma, or heart disease are at a high risk for complications from the flu. Get the flu vaccine today. Visit your nearest health center and ask to be vaccinated. The flu is no joke.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with support from USAID and PAHO.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
In life, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch. The topic is the Trend Program, TREND, the Trend Program. Our guest is Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gill, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education and Youth. Dr. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gill, please continue your thoughts with us. You are indicating some of the gaps in the current education system, in particular with the early childhood education and some of the things coming out of the Patterson report. Please continue. That is Professor Orlando Patterson of Harvard University. Please continue.
Okay, thank you, Stokeley. So as I was saying before, yes, the basic schools do work. We are products of it, but coming out of the Orlando Patterson's report of
is that you just want to certify them, Dr. Thomas-Gill? Is that the concern?
Not only to certify them, but in ensuring that they are certified, we can better able look on the access, the quality teaching and learning, the environment in which these students, our children are in as they access early childhood. So we want to bring that equity. When we speak to the equity, we want to ensure that students who enter the early childhood sector, they have a certain standard by which they are taught and prepared for a better performance going further on in their education. So also coming out of the Patterson report, we want to look at our teaching and learning, teacher training, how it is that we're going to empower our educators to create learning experiences that are able to transform our students' mind and lives for national and global impact. So Trend is that campaign that is putting forward all the recommendations from the Patterson report, and we're doing it in such a way that will pull all stakeholders on board so that education transformation is not just happening in the Ministry of Education. It's happening on the corners of the street. It's happening in the churches, Stokely. It's happening in the homes, and that's what we want.
Dr. Thomas Gale, I'm hearing a lot of words like transform. I'm hearing a lot of words such as, global impact, etc. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty, if I could use that term, nitty-gritty. The child, how will it change the life of the child educationally?
All right. When you look at our children are now exposed to technology, for example. So through trend, we will see students and their parents playing a more critical role in the transformation process. The ministry will be putting systems in place. We will be refining processes, and parents as well as their children will have contact with these processes. The lives of the children will now see an education system that caters to their needs, because the voice of our students, we are listening to our students leaders would have spoken to us. They are a part of the Trend campaign.
What are they asking for? What are the student leaders asking for? Which student leaders? You mean high school, primary school?
High schools. The student leaders are predominantly from the high schools.
What are they asking for?
Pardon me?
What are they asking for?
Well, for example, we would have met some time ago with some student leaders. They're coming out of the university group, youth arm, and they asked for scholarships, more scholarships, and you'd have seen where the ministry would have implemented several scholarships gearing towards having our students channeling towards the STEM education. We also...
And remind us what STEM means, if you will.
Pardon me?
You can remind us as to what STEM means, STM?
STEM. We have our national
science, technology,
curriculums, science, technology, education, and maths. And we also have stream that look at science, technology, reading, education, and maths.
Okay. And in terms of trend, back to trend, what are some of the measurable outcomes that you're looking forward to? I think you meant engineering and math. What are some of the
I was just about to say that, Stokeley. Did I say education or engineering?
Well, you're from the Ministry of Education, so. But what are some of the measurable outcomes you're looking forward to once trend is fully established?
Better performance of our students academically.
Okay, so the average parent listening, are they going to be seeing more ones at the CXC and CAPE level? That's what a parent is looking for.
And that's our ultimate goal.
Okay, fine. So
students can set those.
So better scholastic achievement. Will trend have any impact also in the area of sports? Because some students don't necessarily want to specialize only in the academics, what we call the math and the English and so on, but they have other interests. Maybe they want a football career, a track and field career. How can trend impact that, or have an impact rather on that?
Okay. So remember, not all students are academically inclined. So trend, be the academic.
And nothing is wrong with that.
And nothing is wrong with that. And thus the National Standards Curriculum, as I said, it focuses on that, the STEM approach, where it pulls students from different abilities, where we're catering to students. Those are the artistic ones. That's how we get the STEAM, so the arts. Those who are for the track and field. So we will have schools that will be built coming out of this, that will be STEM Academy or STEAM Academy, that will focus on the arts, where students who are so inclined will transition towards those areas. Coming out of STEM also, we coming out of trend, the transformed ministry, we will see students who are able to to fit in the wider society. We're not only preparing our children for Jamaica, but also how it is that they will function when they transition to other parts of the world.
Okay. And in terms of some of the infrastructural issues, if I could use the term infrastructural, you'll see where I'm going in a moment. How will some schools be able to cope with this transition? Because their facilities might not be geared for what you're doing now, and even the sort of background in terms of the experience of some of the teachers and the administrators of the school. They're accustomed to the way things were, but now you're taking them in this new direction. How might Trend be able to cope in light of some of these sorts of issues, both physically and the intangible?
All right, so coming out of the transformation, the Trend, we will be redesigning our schools. So schools will be, any schools built thereafter will be built in such a way that will cater to that 21st learner.
You mean new schools?
New schools. Our
What
current,
about the existing schools
right, our
that were
existing,
built many years ago, decades ago? By the way, I should pause at this point and just mention that the Minister of Education, the Honorable Favour Williams, had wanted to be with us today, but because of technical difficulties, she was unable to join us this morning, and so I do apologize. We do apologize for her absence. Go ahead, Dr. Thomas Gill.
all right, so thank you, Stokeley. So coming out of Trend, we will be providing physical learning spaces that will deliver this equitable education that I speak to. We are now currently equipped in our TVET labs in our schools to make them 21st century ready. We are
Okay, so from a physical standpoint, you're making changes. That's going to be money, of course, but we won't get into that today. What about the kind of preparation of the teachers and the school administrators, the principals and the vice principals, the guidance counselors? What about the human resource?
Okay, so as I said, one of the 7 pillars of change is teaching, curriculum, and teacher training. So we are empowering our educators on how it is that to move towards this 21st century, teaching and learning how to transform students' minds and how to impact learning for better living. So we are currently reviewing our training programs, those that we would have done already, because we have been transforming Stokeley. So we have.
This is a religious media station. You talk about transforming minds. Any component in terms of values, attitudes, religion?
All right. So we're currently launched our character education program, where that will focus.
No Bible knowledge, Dr. Thomas Gale. I'm putting in a plug for that.
Of course, Christ continues to be an integral part in our activity. The morals, why we may not be teaching.
I don't know if it's in the Patterson report, but I'm putting in a plug. So
a plug for,
because what is happening for education in principles of the Bible, because what is happening, Dr. Thomas Gale, we tend to ignore the spiritual, the Christian side, and you see the lack of that sometimes in the crime rate.
Agree.
You see it in the crassness. You see it in the way people treat each other. They cannot resolve a dispute because they don't follow the Beatitudes in their daily lives. They do not follow the principles coming out of the New and even the Old Testament. People sometimes decry the Old Testament, but the Old Testament has a lot of good things in there. Read Proverbs, read Psalms. Dr. Thomas Gale, before we wrap this morning, any final words you want to leave with us?
All right, so thank you. I just want to say to you that we are indeed, the National Standards Curriculum does emphasize our spiritual aspect of our child. it looks at all
Dr.
the whole.
Thomas Gale, unfortunately, we are completely out of time. It has been so interesting. I want to thank you for being with us this morning, Dr. Thomas Gale. Wish we had another minute or two, but alas, I see where we are completely out of time. I want to thank you so much for sharing this morning with us on this morning watch in the first watch. Thank you again, and we wish you all the best with the program.
Thank you so much.
Listen,
And let's transform education for national development.
listeners, stay with us. We'll be right back on the morning watch.
Anything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Jan Bank is
7:30 and a half.
In need of a loan? A Financial is the place to go. We have loans from $20,000 to $3.3 million. Get a loan to pay school or college tuition, medical expenses, bills, fix up your house, buy furniture and appliances, repair or buy a car. And when you're done, take a vacation loan. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Call AIM today. You won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Happy follow Grace Sardine, that's a flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that's a the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the part, make push it.
Grace Sardines follow the better flavor.
Christmas is togetherness. Flow is giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. So that's just what you've been wishing. Oh, it's a celebration. Free phone and earbuds for you.
Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT.
Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by
Visit
you.
your Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kay. She loved to dance and play. One day at school, she got very ill, and Mom was left with an unbearable bill. It would be easier if Mom was prepared. With School Companion, 80% of the bill is cleared. Medical care for children is a must for as low as $2,400 per month. Make unbearable medical bills go away. Sign up for Surgical School Companion today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have in Loop Jamaica News, man found dead, pinned under rubble. A very, very sad story, very concerning story here. It says, the body of a construction worker was on Monday morning found under a pile of rubble on Ken Hill Drive in St. Andrew. Ken Hill Drive in St. Andrew. According to people at the scene, the man identified so far as Desmond was working at the location, which is a construction site. The house is undergoing renovation. It's believed that a section of the house collapsed and he was pinned under the rubble. Very sad, very, 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 very sad story indeed. And we turn now to the Gleaner. DPP to appeal life sentence for man caught with illegal gun. And there's a photograph of DPP King's Counsel Paula Llewellyn here, and the story or the article or the news, the item of news here rather I should say, speaks to the issues at hand The name of the convict is an Atlee Murray, I believe. We turn now to the Observer. And in the Jamaica Observer, this headline, and by the way, this item of news here is written by Arthur Hall, editor at large at the Jamaica Observer. The title of this news item is Hallelujah, but it is spelled AL-LELUJAH. Miller, that is referring to Senior Pastor, Fellowship Tabernacle, Dr. Merrick Al Miller, humbled by apology from church group, which shunned him for past 7 years. It's in relation to matters to do with Christopher Dulles Cook some years ago. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Coming up next, we'll read for some of the feedback from our YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp question, which is, women, how concerned are you today about using straightening chemicals in your hair? If you haven't done so yet, leave a comment or leave your responses on our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Marshall's Pharmacy will be celebrating its 5th anniversary and hosting their grand opening Saturday, November 11. Join Love 101 FM as we will be live on location from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the grounds of Shop 10 to 11 Pathfinder Plaza, 2W Henderson Boulevard, Portmore, to share all that's happening with you. That's Marshall's Pharmacy's 5th anniversary and grand opening Saturday, November 11 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive, 1 to 5, November 7, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain testing mental size listeners pick edition. Stick around the prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, we hear the testimony of Reverend Adet Mitchell, who spent 5 weeks in the hospital after she suffered several heart attacks. Then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit with the anointed pastor of the Conquering Lion of the Tribe of Judah Healing and Deliverance International Ministry, Pastor Rowan Sims. All the time will come alive, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. November 7th with yours truly, Sarah and the Jerpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. Don't miss the next Campus Connection as we look at youth and careers. Are our youth positioned for the existing careers and emerging careers? What courses should young people pursue to ensure that they are ready for the future job market? Does it still make sense to go after a traditional career? Is school a real need for someone who is gifted? Let's talk with our esteemed guests as we delve into these issues on Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 p.m. on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back. You're tuning into the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Jakal for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. Women, how concerned are you today about using straightening chemicals in your hair, Jakal?
All right, so we have some responses on our WhatsApp line. This one comes to us from somebody, well, I'm not saying a name, but Sister Ennis. Okay, so it says, very concerned. Stopped relaxing my hair after the whole carcinogenic debacle. Now I use organic cosmetics to wash and treat. It's a very serious thing for Black girls and women being targeted by these companies and their products to increase mortality rate and diseases in our population. That was from Sister Ennis, and this one is coming from Enda in Montego Bay.
Morning, watch. Good morning, love one-on-one listeners and staff. I'm very concerned about putting straightening chemical in my ear. When I was much younger, it was like nothing to me, although over the years while using them, a lot of damage had been done to my ear. So I'm shunning from it right now. Even sometimes the thought come into my mind, say I would straighten my ear again. I said no, because the chemical is not good for my ear, my brains, my entire body. So I just refrain from putting any straightening chemical in my ear. I'm going natural right now. I will put in some extension, but certainly not no chemical.
And that was the final response we have here on our WhatsApp line.
Jikal, thank you very much. Very interesting comments. We move right into the second watch, which is on the same topic. For longer than many of us can remember, ladies in particular have been straightening their hair using certain chemicals. And today, however, we have the United States Food and Drug Administration considering a ban, it seems, on certain hair straightening chemicals that have been used by, you could say, black women. Some people prefer the term women of color or women of African descent. However you want to coin it or frame it. And the question is why. It is indicated that research shows that using these chemicals to straighten hair may increase the risk of uterine cancer. And you have a lot more women these days going with the natural look, and to some extent just become quite fashionable. Well, we have as our guest today to explore this area dermatologist Dr. Lorinia Muir Green and trichologist Dr. Hyacinth Oates. Good morning, ladies. How are you both?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes,
it is
I'm
interesting
well.
that we're having a conversation like this with two ladies.
Good morning, Dr. Green.
Morning, Dr. Oates.
No, I'm using this word deliberately. The pun is intended. Why only coming to burn out chemicals used to straighten hair? You know, you said that the chemicals are burning up the ladies' hairs, right? So why coming to burn out the chemicals? Dr. Lorinia Muir Green, seriously though, what are some of the concerns that you have with some of the chemicals used to do hair straightening?
Okay, so they have been looking at different hair straighteners for at least more than about 3 decades now.
And for legal reasons, we won't call any brands on air, but go ahead. You can speak in generic terms.
Sure. So what the Americans have been doing for about 30 odd years was collecting data from different populations. It's called the Women's Health Study. And essentially what they were looking at was every 2 years they will send out a questionnaire asking, if you enroll in a study, they will ask you, where living, environmental stuff, and what kind of products that you use, what kind of food that you eat, and to see if is there any correlation between any cancers that persons might develop over the decades. And they were able to see that there was a little bit of an increase in endometrial cancer. They call it uterine cancer, but we call it endometrial cancer out here, as well as breast cancer for
So Dr. Muir Green, what we are referring to as endometriosis, is that the same thing?
No. So endometrial
Something
cancer
okay.
is where you have thickening of the lining of the cervix, which is the inner lining of the cervix. That is the part that usually bleeds when you when you have your menstruation. There with women who don't bleed regularly and don't have their
menses regularly, they are more at risk of endometrial cancer. And that is what endometrial cancer is, just the development of cancer of the lining of the cervix, which is different from
Dr. Muir Green.
Yes.
Cancers appear to be something that you can get from so many different things, according to various types of research.
Yes.
So, is it that this issue in relation to women is so unique? You know, certain things go up into the air and they're saying it's carcinogenic. You know, even some of the things we do on a day-to-day basis, even some of the things we use, you know, hand lotions, etc. You might be hearing every now and then someone is saying there's something carcinogenic. So is it that the risk of using some of these hair straighteners is at a level that people don't need to be too concerned with, or you are saying it's at a threshold now where you should consider even a ban?
That is,
Dr. Muir Green?
That is still being worked on in terms of trying to see if there's a direct correlation. The latest, as you're saying, as I said, we're exposed to so many things. What they're concerned about mainly are the presence of what they call phthalates, which is PHTHALATES. These are present in a lot of the items that
Dr. Muir Green, the conversation is very interesting, and we need to bring in Dr. Oates, but we are upon a break. In fact, we're past the break. Hold that thought one moment. Listeners, we'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper. That are the winner. Shop on supermarkets. Everybody
sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:47 a.m.
Some dreamers picture a place they call home, a house with no mortgage, a home that they own. Some dream of owning their very own store, be it a cafe or florist, or growing one into more. Where one dreams of making luxury shopping the norm, others dream of sports cars, the kind that perform. But one thing in common these dreamers all need is to build their wealth so they can achieve.
Never settle for less than your dreams with Sagicor Investments. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with a wealth advisor.
Planning to sit the May-June CXC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the registration deadline, Friday, November 24. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form, or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the May-June CXC exams privately, the registration deadline is November 24th.
Why suffer from heartburn, gas, upset stomach, or indigestion? Get fast, effective, long-lasting relief from Benjamin's Antacid. Benjamin's Antacid works faster than a hot cup of tea. Benjamin's, the trusted name for over a century.
In life, the more you have, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend, we are the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. Pick up the trend for education, teachers and the students. A fully bright future, yes, that are the new trend. Better governance, partner with the parents. Follow the big trend, elevate the youth them. Improve the school's track performance, access and attendance. From infant primary to university students. Turn up the skills training, full steam we are giving. Follow the big trend, elevate the schools. Yeah. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. This are the trend, we are the youths them. Watch the trend, pick up the trend. TREND. For more technology, Yes, and better planning, quality education, that's what should be trending. From principals to EOs, everybody winning. Follow the ministry. Changing the system, watch the trend, pick up the trend.
This is Trend, Transforming Education for National Development, a program designed by the Ministry of Education and Youth to transform Jamaica's education system for a brighter tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall, and welcome to those who are just joining. We are in the second watch, and the topic is what's in your hair? What's in your hair? Our guests are dermatologist Dr. Lorena Muir-Green, as well as trichologist Dr. Hyacinth Oates. Dr. Muir-Green, were you through with the point you were making just before the break, before we go to Dr. Oates?
Not really, but I wanted to say that the phthalates that they're concerned about are also present in lots of the water bottles that, you know, we drink from, or bottled water, etc., etc. So we are exposed to a lot over in our general environment, but it is interesting that they were able to show a connection between the use in relaxers and endometrial cancer as well as breast cancer.
You know, Dr. Oates, before I bring you in here, I just want to raise this issue because sometimes there is danger in almost everything. We have to be so careful how we jump from one thing to the next, because I'm looking at a publication in the Lancet. And of course, you're both medical doctors. You would know about the renowned Lancet, which publishes a lot of health information and is referred to by many persons in the medical profession. The topic is carcinogenic materials in synthetic braids, an unrecognized risk of hair products for Black women, published May 26, 2023 by Crystal G. Thomas. Black women across the United States are commonly exposed to carcinogens due to inadequate regulation of substances involved in hair braiding, an important cultural beauty practice. It goes on to read, while public awareness of harmful ingredients in Black hair products has slowly been increasing, synthetic extensions as a source of toxins has not been an area of focus. And it goes on. Dr. Oates, what are your comments in this area? We seem to be well aware now that there are concerns about the hair straighteners, but what about the synthetic braids, which are quite popular, Dr. Oates?
Yes, I can identify with that. May I just make one comment before I go into my comments generally?
Feel free
is
to do
that
so,
I am a
Dr. Oates.
trichologist. Yes, I'm a trichologist. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a doctor of hair and scalp disorders.
Well,
Just
you
for
are a doctor of
clarification.
hair and scalp disorders, but not a but you're
Scalp
still a doctor.
disorders.
But thank you for the
Yes, but not a
correction. But you are
medical.
but not
Yes,
a
I'm a
medical
bloodless
doctor.
practitioner. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, just want to
Understood.
make the point.
No problem.
Yes,
No problem
but
with that. Thank you for that.
I have to say that when it comes to our hair, the only natural hair that we can vouch for is the hair that is not exposed to anything. And that is not done in our society as we find it today. So your natural hair, if it has not been chemically processed, you would call it natural. But because of the fact that for convenience, in most of our cases, we are now adding the braids, which, as you just mentioned, does have some risk to it. So we cannot really claim natural hair in any form, because if it's not one thing, it's going to be another. The thing is, right, the thing is, we need to be aware of them and to limit the uses as much as possible. For example.
Dr. Oates, or maybe just don't use any chemicals at all. How about that?
Yeah, but if you don't, well, we are not only addressing chemicals now. You just mentioned braids.
Even I know. You have you
Right.
can have
So,
even some of the shampoos, Dr. Oates.
right. That's what I'm saying.
I'm widening the
So if
discussion. Yeah, I know we're dealing with hair straightening, but if you're talking about chemicals, a chemical you have chemicals in almost everything now when it comes to grooming.
exactly, exactly. And we are dealing with natural hair. We're dealing with natural hair as it relates to the up and coming boom that we are experiencing in the market at the moment. The
Thank
thing
you.
is,
Exactly.
as a woman, and you see the risk of all of these health issues, you are going to have to step back and take a good look at what it is you're doing in terms of beautification for yourself. But
And
we
you know,
still have to be out there.
I know, Dr. Oates, I know the program is focusing on the ladies, but you have men who are using
Yes.
various chemicals in various products. If it's even to keep away dry scalp, or if it is just to put something in the hair to make it easier to comb, whatever it is, something you put on the surface of the skin. Yes, go ahead.
That's the point. That's the point. We cannot get away from the chemicals because it's hidden. You have to understand that the cosmetic products are not subject to pre-market approval by the Food and Drug Administration. And a complete list of ingredients is not mandatory. So some of the things we will be able to check on, but there are others who we are not in a position to do so. So
Dr.
you
Oates,
can.
you have raised an issue of regulation. You mentioned or indicated that prior to being released on the market, they are not subject to certain scrutiny. Hold that for one moment, Dr. Oates. Dr. Muir Green, any comments? Because you're a dermatologist and you will be seeing persons after their skin is injured or damaged. Dr. Muir Green?
Yes, so indeed they're not as regulated as Dr. Oates was saying, and things that they had brought up with the issues that we get with these products is that it wasn't just relaxers that they were looking at. They were looking at the use of hair dyes, how often you use them for the year, how long you've been using them, as in before puberty, etc., and trying to correlate to see if there was an increased risk depending on exposure. And with
Dr. Muir Green, only because of time, I'm going to ask to leave a parting word with us. What do you recommend going forward?
Limiting your use of these products, and if you're gonna use a relaxer, use it less often, like every 3 to 4 months. Using products that are that you know that basic scalp, when you're relaxing, make sure you don't get any scalp burns, etc. Same thing with your hair dyes. Don't use them as often, and revert to like rinses instead of permanent hair dyes. Maybe that will.
Understood. And a quick one here, Dr. Muir Green. What about the practice some women used to do, probably still do, where they straighten the hair with a hot comb without putting in any of those chemicals that you would use for what people call creaming their hair?
Again, some of the products that we have, it's not just the relaxers, the products, the concerning issue is ubiquitous in most of these products. So even though they're using the oils, and they're more than likely going to be present in them as well. It's just that we're not using them as often.
Dr. Oates, what about the hair straightening with just the hot comb, the hot iron comb?
Well, the pressing comb, if used at a temperature that is safe, but you have to use a lubricant.
Right.
And Dr. Green
So there
just
you
made
go.
a point that
And
even the lubricant,
chemicals again.
right,
Dr.
right.
Oates and Dr. Muir Green, I want to thank you for the things you have raised this morning in the morning watch on this very important topic. We are exploring it today. I don't think either of you are making any definitive conclusions, but I want to thank you for your time and for your thoughts. More and on. Ladies, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues and the topics of the day. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch by downloading our Love 101 app and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, hanging back to Love in the Morning with Jakarta.
The Morning Watch was brought to you by AIM Financial Corporation Limited. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Visit any of our branches in Mandeville, Kingston, Spanish Town, Portmore, Maypen, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay.